Hi everyone. Now let's try to learn class 8 science. Class 8. So in the contents, let's see chapter number 1, crop production and management. Let's see in this chapter 1. So class 8 science. You know, the word science, it is actually comes from the Latin word scientia, which means to know. Okay, uh, from textbook, science textbook, let's try to learn chapter number 1, that is crop production and management. This one, crop production and management. Let's see. Chapter number 1, crop production and management. Okay, crop production. Why do we need to produce? Why do we need to grow crop plants in the fields? Because we need food. So we need to eat food. And what is food? Actually, food is a substance we use to eat to get energy. So some points are there. Why do we eat food? Point number 1, say to get energy. And point number 2, say to reproduce, grow, etc. And point number 3, to carry out body metabolic activity. To carry out body metabolic activity. So the food we eat generally comes from what? The food we eat comes from the plants. Maybe say vegetable, maybe fruit, maybe say grains, like that. So plants are known as autotrophs. 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 They can manufacture their own food. Most of the plants, they can manufacture their own food. So they are known as autotrophs. So most of the plants, particularly most of the green plants, they can synthesize their own food by a process called photosynthesis. 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 So in the higher classes, in the last class 7, you may understand about the photosynthesis. You know, photosynthesis is one of the process in which plants can manufacture by means of this process. Let's see photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Say carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil absorbed by the plant roots, and in the say I will write here carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil, then in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. Sunlight and chlorophyll gives C6H12O6. This is glucose plus with oxygen. Here I can write here plus oxygen. This is glucose. So carbohydrate in the form of glucose is manufactured during the photosynthesis by most of the green plants. Okay. Next, animals on the other hand. Animals cannot manufacture their own food. They cannot synthesize their own food. So animals are known as heterotrophs. Animals are heterotrophs. Animals are heterotrophs because they cannot make their own food. They cannot make their own food. They depend their food from other sources. So they are known as heterotrophs. Next, let's see, say crop. C-R-O-P, crop. What is crop? How can you define crop? Say we can define crop, say when plants of the same kind are cultivated at one place on a large scale. And it is called a crop. So we know when plants of the same kind are cultivated at one place on a large scale, it is called crop. So crops can be of different types. Here we mainly study about the paddy crop, that means rice. So some of the crop plants grown by the farmers are, we can mention, say, number one, say cereal crop. In the cereal crop, we can mention some of the crops like, say, wheat and rice, maize, millet, and even barley, etc. These are cereal crop. And next, point number 2, so we can say pulses. Pulses. Then pulses, say it belongs to say grams, even say peas, and say beans also, beans, etc. So these are the pulses. So these are the crops. And another point we can see, say number 3, vegetables. Vegetables, we can mention some of the examples like tomato, then brinjal, cabbage, then cauliflower, etc. These are vegetables. And point number 4, say fruits. Say we can mention say banana, say mango, guava, and even orange, apple, lemon, etc. Next, point number 5, oil seeds. Say farmers grow oil seeds in order to get oil. Say some of the plants like mustard, sunflower, and say groundnut also. Farmers grow these things to get oils. So these are the different types of crops. Okay. As we know, what is crop? Particularly, we have been discussing about the cereal crop, that is rice. Next point, let's see seasons of crop. So crop seasons can be up to, number 1 is kharif crop. Kharif crop that starts from June to September. Kharif crop starts from June to September. So it is also known as summer season or rainy season crop. And number 2 is Rabi crop. Rabi crop starts from October to November. Actually, Rabi crop is generally from October to say March, October to March. Generally, the sowing of the seeds starts from November for the Rabi crop, and harvesting starts at the February, March. So it is also known as winter crop. Winter crop. Next, let's see practices of agriculture. Practices of agriculture. Basically, there are there are 7 practices of agriculture. Let's see. Basic agricultural practices. Let's see, basic agricultural practices. Actually, there are 7 steps in the agricultural practices. Point number 1 is preparation of soil. Preparation of soil. And point number 2, sowing seeds. And point number 3, say adding manure and fertilizer. Adding manure and fertilizer. This is the third step. Point number 4, protection from weeds. Weeds. Actually, weeds are nothing. They are the unwanted plants grown along with the crop plant. So from time to time we need to remove weeds, otherwise we may not get much quantity of crop. That means seeds. Point number 5 is protecting from protection from weeds. And say irrigation. And point number supply of water in the crop plant, that is called irrigation. And point number 6, that is harvesting. And point number 7 is storage. So these 7 basic steps are there in the agricultural practices. The first point, that is preparation of soil. Let's study preparation of soil. How the soil is prepared and what are the steps to be followed in the preparation of the soil. Let's see. Say in the field, we need to plow the field so that loosening and turning of the soil is very important. You know, soil is nothing, the topmost layer of earth, that is called soil. So to get soil fertile in the topmost layer of the soil, say we need loosening and turning of the soil. So this is done by some simple tools. In the ancient time, people use a simple device that is called what? This type of device. Here, one pair of bull will pull this wooden frame, and this is the plough shaft. This is the plough shaft. Plough shaft. You know, one pair of bull will pull this, and here this is the wooden frame, and one piece of iron will be here, and it will dig to the soil, and turning and loosening of the soil take place. So in the top layer of the soil, water and mineral nutrients are present. So if we turn and loosen the soil, that activity is called tilling or ploughing. Tilling or ploughing. So this time in this modern age, tractor driven cultivators are used, and use of tractor driven cultivator saves time and labor. But in the ancient time, this type of ploughs are used in order to plough the field, in order to turning and loosening the soil. So when the seeds are sown, then most of the seeds will germinate, and they will penetrate easily their roots on the earth. Then they will absorb nutrients from the soil. So preparation of soil is one of the most important activity before sowing seeds. Okay. Point number two, sowing seeds. Before sowing seeds, we have to select. Selection of seed is very important. Selection of seed is very important. How do we select good seed? Say we can select the good seed by some easy method. Say here, suppose we have a turf. We have to put inside this the seeds. So these are the seeds. Maybe rice seed or paddy seed. We can say here you pour water up to the brim. Pour water. You pour water and stir. After some minutes, most of the unhealthy and damaged seeds will float on the surface of the water, and healthy seeds will sink at the bottom of this tub. So this healthy seeds, we have to select this healthy seeds which sink at the bottom of the tub. We have to select for sowing, and the seeds which are floating on the surface of the water, we have to take out and we have to discard it because they are unfit for sowing seeds. Why they are? Because they are flowing on the surface of this water, that means they are unfit for sowing seeds. They are damaged seeds. Because of that, they are flowing on the water. Like this, we have to select seeds, good seeds. Next point is point number 3, adding manure and fertilizer. Manure and fertilizer. Addition of manure and fertilizer in the crop field is very important. So from time to time we have to use manure or fertilizer, because say fertilizer actually they are made in the factory, and manures are generally made in the fields. So fertilizer is made in, actually it is man-made inorganic soap. Actually fertilizer is man-made inorganic soap, whereas manure is a natural substance obtained by the decomposition of cattle dung and plant residues. So fertilizer is prepared in the factories, and manure they are prepared in the fields. And fertilizer does not provide any humus to the soil, and manure provides a lot of humus to the soil. And fertilizers are very rich in plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Manure is relatively less rich in plant nutrients. So the difference between the fertilizer and manure are shown in your textbook also in page number 7. You have to read it very carefully. Next point, irrigation. Let's see. Irrigation. The supply of water to the crop plant, that is called irrigation. This time irrigation can be of, say, in the many ways irrigation has been done. Say traditional method of irrigation and modern method of irrigation are shown in your textbook. Let's see. In the traditional method of irrigation, here the water available in wells, lakes, and canals is lifted up by different methods into the fields. Say cattle or human labor is used in these methods. So it is shown here like this. Say some of the traditional methods of irrigation are, say, mud pulley system, sand pump. It is also shown in your textbook with the diagram also. And point number 3, Dekli, and number 4, Rahat. That means lever system. These pumps are commonly used for lifting water. Diesel, biogas, electricity, and solar energy is used to run these pumps. And in the modern methods of irrigation, as you have seen in your textbook, say sprinkler system, and say this is the one example of sprinkler system and drip system. Here we have seen drip system, sprinkler system and drip system. This is the modern methods of irrigation we have seen. Next, let's see point number 5. Point number 5, protection from weeds. Protection from weeds. You know what are weeds? Weeds are unwanted plants grown along with the crop plant. So we need to remove weeds from the crop plants manually. If there is some inconvenience, if the weeds are grown say larger, then even at that time we can use weedicide chemical. Weedicide is a chemical that is 2,4-D, one of the weedicide we can use to kill weeds. If we do not protect from the weeds, then we may not get more quantity of our food. Okay, next point, let's see. Point number 6. Say harvesting. Harvesting is one of the important activity. So it is nothing, it is the separation of the grains from the plant itself. This time harvesting is done by using say power thresher machines. Power thresher machines. The use of power thresher machines saves labor, but harvesting in the ancient time was done manually by some people. Next point, that is point number 7, storage. Storage of the seeds is one of the important activity. We need to protect under very good condition. Say we should try to protect from the rat. We should try to protect from the bird and insects. You know, the quantity of grains say eaten by the rat is less than the quantity of the grains they waste. So we have to protect from the rat and birds also. When the stored grains reached by birds, then they also may get damaged. And we have to protect from the insects also. The stored grains should be protected from the insects also. Otherwise, when we store it in a very careless manner, then they will lose the production, the quantity will lose. So it is not good. So taking care at the time of storage is also very important. So from time to time, at the time of storing, some people use say some of the leaves, plant leaves like neem leaves, in order to protect from other insects, not to damage the seeds. So neem leaves are also used. So we should be very careful at the time of storage. So for today, let's learn up to this. In the next, I will bring you a new topic. So for today, let's stop here. Bye.